high-tech television sets to awesome cell phones, Samsung never lets us down. Behind me is the Space Shuttle Enterprise. I was able to speak with Commander Haise, who was one of the very first test pilots of this particular shuttle Enterprise and flew up to 5 missions afterwards. bnetTV is on the scene here on the Intrepid in New York. We're going to have a chance to look at some further things around the exhibit, all highlighting Samsung's smart TV technologies, but the biggest piece of technology is the one that's behind me, or at least the amazement of it. Now, Mr. Haise, and I should call you Captain, of the Enterprise, children all over the world have such a resonation of the name Enterprise, and for obvious reasons, but you got to fly on the Enterprise. What was that like?
Well, that was a great experience. It was really a privilege for any test pilot to have the opportunity to fly a first flight on any vehicle, not just Enterprise. That's always the proof of the pudding, and behind all the work that's been involved in getting to that point.
We'll briefly step into the economics of the actual craft itself, if you don't mind. The avionics, the cost of running a machine like this based against past spacecraft, and then the future space program.
If you look at it compared to systems today, if you look at it from, say, computing assets, it's very archaic. The design was frozen in mid-70s. When you're in a development program like that, you have to pick a point in the preliminary design where you say, I'm going to freeze and take what's available. Even though there may be something on the horizon that looks like it would be a little better, but at a point you got to stop. And because, as you know, computing assets particularly move fast. The big computer we flew Enterprise with was about 1 megabyte.
So, quite small compared to today's technology. And if you take something into consideration like the Dreamliner program or the any of the Airbus programs or any of the Boeing programs that exist today, the avionics obviously would trump what we're seeing behind here. But this is space flights, so
right. Yeah, there's no question. They have much more computing assets. Of course, they're doing a lot of tasks. This vehicle basically. We needed enough computing power primarily for the program that got you up, ascent, and entry. Well, entry was the toughest problem, actually.
Isn't that one of the most costly portions of the entirety of the program when it comes to safety, when it comes to computing, when it comes to everything?
No, the most expensive part of a program that you're going to repeat flights and what you call recurring cost is the labor force, your payroll. Your payroll is the big cost. So if you can do any program, employ more automation, and employ less people, and if you're going to do it repeatedly, then it's going to be cheaper.
Sir, it is every child's dream to dream about being an astronaut. You got to do it. When your first moment in space, when you left the atmosphere of the planet, what was that feeling?
Well, the things that were unusual in space flight for me were zero gravity on a continuum, and the actual views you see. The views, you've seen a lot of pictures and things before you went, but it's not the same as looking out the window and realizing you're really there looking at this. As far as the, I'll call it the physiological aspects of launch vibrations or G levels, that was less than most, in days of certainly Apollo, than we had experienced in fighter airplanes. So in fighter airplanes, we had pulled more Gs, had been on hot days at high speed, low altitude with a lot more jolting around. So no, that part of it was not that more exciting from what we had already experienced in our careers.
Finally, sir, you piloted the Enterprise. Are you a Star Trek fan, and do you have any resonation of that?
No, I enjoyed Star Trek, the original. I didn't follow too much the later programs. I was a Shatner, Nimoy fan back, Scotty back when, and Doc. But no, I'd have to say, having been the commander of Enterprise, I've been invited and have been to another number of Trekkie events, including an international event, and I've enjoyed it. They're obviously a little further out than actually where I'd like to go, but
That's a fantastic comment. I'm going to leave off with one note. This is a fantastic exhibit. Thank you to Samsung. Thank you to yourself. Do you enjoy the exhibit? Is it what you thought it was going to be?
Yes. No, I think they've cleaned it up nice. It really, the vehicle looks neat. I think
they washed it up. They put it through the car wash very nicely.
They've done well. I was worried a little bit about how the structure would look to enclose it, and I think that looks great. And they have, obviously, I'll call it, some interim exhibits up that tell a good story around it.
Sir, it was an honor and pleasure to speak with you today. Congratulations again on all the accomplishments throughout your life and your career, and good luck in the future. Thank you.
Same to you.
Thank you.